You can tell by this room, right? Like
I can definitely
I definitely
that.
like computing. Like I'm right into it.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's crazy.
Well, you don't call it computing anymore. It used to be called computing.
I know, because my dad has the certificate in computing.
Yeah.
And he talked about it, that it used to be a thing, that if you wanted to own a computer, like back in the 90s, or like, I'm going to say he got into it like late 80s, early 90s, you had to be someone that was good at computing. And then they made it like a home desktop thing that everybody had.
Yeah, it wasn't really accessible to everyone unless you were, you had to be literate in computer language.
Yes, you did.
DOS was the first sort of parameter that you really need to understand. DOS would be, it's like Windows, but just with cursors.
Yeah.
So there's no mouse. There's no mouse in there. It's all commands.
It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. Or they had like a little trackball like this. Like my dad has this little one. It's like just one trackball. What do you do with this? What do you do, Dad? And he used to take it out like a little mothball and blow on it and then put it back in.
Yeah, you had to clean. You also had to clean the wheels in there because there's wheels in there and they'd get gunk on them, and it would change the sensitivity of your mouse, and you'd have to clean them out, and it'd have all kind of dust and muck on there. Like, you know, imagine all the muck that you get on a keyboard after a long time.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's all up in the mouse, It's terrible. Yeah, but that was pretty cool technology. I remember totally. It was DOS, then it was Windows 3.1. That's when it really became accessible. The Mac OS became really accessible for general use.
This is before my time.
Yeah, but again though, it still was hard to access.
All computers were like, and I think that the reason why I ended up getting a Mac was because it was more marketed towards being able to have a higher graphics card, and they were more well known for using stuff like Adobe. It was like the computer for people who needed graphics.
Yeah. What was it? Clip art.
Clip art.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, Windows Movie Maker.
Ooh, see, now we're getting into it. Windows Movie Maker, because this is about accessibility to making content.
Yeah. Are we rolling, by the way?
Yeah, we're in. I haven't done. Sometimes I do the intro later because we just end up into it.
Well, no one told me this. If you had said, I wouldn't have been like just sitting here like some sloth. I haven't even fixed my hair.
Oh wow! Oh gosh, no! You look fantastic. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. Here I am just sitting talking so casually.
But this is what the show is. That's what it is. That's how casual the Pagey train is. All of a sudden, you've got a drink. You're on the train. And you're talking about, computers from the 80s,
Yeah, this is how you start, like...
This is how it goes down. Well, this is a good opportunity to do our intro.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it.
And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have on the show with me Prudence, Bernadette, person extraordinaire and YouTuber.
Thank you so much. Hello, I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back on the show. I know it's been a big preamble. We started nerding out there on computing.
Yeah.
But let's jump into your YouTube channel for a second.
Yeah, thank you very much.
What's your origin story? Why did you get into YouTube?
Yeah, well, the reason why I got into YouTube was because I wanted a platform where I could produce my work and actually have it seen. So I started out with Please Stop Talking, which was this, you know what, it actually used to be a Webtoon. Does anyone know what Webtoon is?
Yeah, I think I know what a Webtoon is. What is a Webtoon?
Webtoon. It's
Webtoon.
So crazy. It's made by this company called Line, and basically it's this like platform where you make like comics and then you post them. Okay, I
think I've seen this as a product, but not knowing it by name.
Yeah. It's a thing, and I could not believe that like it actually still comes up in some of my search results.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe don't look at that, but yeah, I know it's a very dead account, and so I started doing these. Like,
I've still got a MySpace, so you know.
Do you? MySpace?
Yeah, I think it's still that's still out there, isn't it?
MySpace, I think so.
Yeah, I have a band page on MySpace and a personal page on MySpace, and.
Do you still log in?
No way.
An update?
No.
Like your wall?
No.
And your top friends?
No way. I don't even remember how to get to there, but I'm pretty sure I looked it up like 5 years ago and it's still there.
Really?
Yeah, well, that's still there.
They've turned off the servers, haven't they, though?
I'm not sure. Hey, Misty, can you look that up? Is MySpace still out there?
I'm pretty sure it is still out there.
Yeah.
I was
archived.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out there.
I thought that they were making an announcement that they were going to turn off the servers for MySpace.
So,
hey, if it's still there...
It would be worth money, though. Anyway, we've digressed. We were talking about a Webtoon.
Yeah. So I started with these Webtoons, and I used to like make them in front of the TV, and I had this Wacom tablet, like the old Wacom tablets, and I think I paid for it in coins. To be honest, like this is a while back. I paid for it in in coins. And yes, I used to sit in front of the TV and I have a laptop and I would just draw on a Wacom. And and then I wanted to kind of see if I could animate. And animation, I guess.
This is some proto, EFT sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah, like these are things that I was just kind of self-taught. So I started making this animated series, and that was just so I could see if it was something in my wheelhouse, and I wanted to expand my storytelling into a different medium.
So it was about like, while doing that, like, was it about like learning the technology, and was it also about telling the story as well? Yeah,
I mean, I've always been someone that likes to stretch my boundaries, and I want to test my knowledge as well. And I thought, okay, I love animating. I can.
It's really hard to animate.
Yeah. Trust me.
It really is.
Yeah, try animating with PNGs. PNGs. Okay, I'm not kidding you. Like,
single frame PNG can be a pain in the ass.
That is actually what I was doing. Okay, like, thing is, right, predominantly, like, what I'm trained in is acting, directing, and music. That's what I want to do in my career, right? And 100%, like, acting is my thing that I do probably the most out of my time. But the reason why this all kind of happened was I was in a bit of a slump in my career where, at the age of 21, I was like, I'm nothing. What am I to do? And what I did was I was like, okay, well, in this downtime that I have after uni, I'm just going to try and see what I can show for myself. Because I wasn't actually getting cast in anything. I didn't have any idea about the industry. And it was a way of me throwing myself in, putting myself in the deep end and making content.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I realized.
And getting a foothold.
Yeah, because the thing is I was like, well, if I want to do this, I'm going to have to make some stuff by myself. So what about we make an animated series? Like, I was very inspired by, South Park. You would know that by Big Mouth. And I was like, well, a lot of actors get involved in doing these TV shows that are cartoons. Very similar to one of the creators of Big Mouth had her own, like, snail series. Is
That's
that
MySpace? Yeah. Check it out. MySpace, still there.
Marcel the Shell. That's his name.
Yeah,
That's the name of the series. But yes.
Yeah, okay. It's still pretty active. Like, what's going on there? Is that new shit on MySpace?
Yes, it says that it's far from dead, and it has been revived in a little bit of retro.
Wow, you learn something new every day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, far out. I'm blown away. Oh, well, can you do me a favour? Can you type my name into MySpace?
I already did, and let me tell you didn't come up.
Oh, what about
you may be.
Yeah, one of those ones.
Maybe one of these guys.
Can you type in Alpha Degenerate?
Sure.
Who's that?
I had a band name on there, Alpha Degenerate.
Alfred Degenerate?
Yeah, because we were like, we had beards down to here, my hair was down to here. We'd wear nothing but.
One of his songs.
There it is!
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I can't believe it! Click on that song.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, Jesus. Holy hell. Oh, this is Liberate.
I love this.
Yeah, this is a 9-minute, 43-second song.
9 minutes.
Yeah, will that play?
Yeah.
Surely.
I'm sure.
Yeah, No, click on the, yeah. Wow, this is going back into a server from like...
A very long time. Many moons ago.
I'm absolutely blown away. It doesn't look like it's going to play.
It's
had 49 plays. Look at that. That's a popular, MySpace stuff.
Yep. I think it was the song on someone's wall.
Over how many years?
I think it's crazy, right? Because I got on MySpace when it was like dying. And it was
that's when this happened, yeah.
That's when this happened. That's when the song was released.
Yeah.
Like your song released and I left.
Yeah.
I made a Facebook.
They've gone, we need to raise our standards. That's what happened.
It was like a music thing, wasn't it? It was like a music website.
Yeah, it had that element to it. So there was that social media element, all that social media element to it. And then Facebook came out and then just ate the entire digital world right next to Google, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're MySpace. There you go, kids, is back in action. Go and check it out.
Yeah, make an account, and when you post your profile picture, it has to be from this angle. Like, it has to be above your head, and you have to be doing that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's a few phrases you can think. You can think, oh my god.
Ruffles.
Ruffles. Yeah.
Remember that?
No, I don't.
you have to kick the saturation of the photo up to holy hell, and make sure like the contrast is all the way down, exposure all the way up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then have like a like Comic Sans over the top of it, like the photo edits. This is like before Instagram, but anyway.
Yeah, okay.
We digress.
Yeah, we have totally digressed. But we're talking about, getting a foothold, doing some content.
Yeah.
Because I guess I do resonate with that, like just wanting to make content. Like I was always someone that did voices, and along the way I've always just ended up doing voice acting. So something I've always fallen into.
Love it.
It started on the schoolyard, joking with people, making people laugh.
Yeah.
And then there was there was a comedian that was out. I was doing it. I'm pretty sure I was doing it before this comedian, but he really brought it home. There was that Pablo guy. He does the American movie guy.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's like, one man, one desire.
In a world.
In a world.
Yeah.
And like, I can do that. And I started doing that. And then I actually did that for like TV and like doing promos.
Yeah.
Doing promos for horror films and like doing these really kitschy, like, satiristic sort of scripts for them.
Yeah.
And it's just getting that foothold, and that opened up other places to do content and, becoming an editor. Yeah. What's your journey like being as an editor? Like, because you obviously put this content together.
Yeah.
What's your platform, and how do you? What drives you as an editor?
Well, I think honestly, I think that the reason why I guess like diversified my skill set is going to come back to me wanting to get an acting job. I think it's always going to come back to that. That I think I came to that realization that if you want to be an actor, you have to make your own content, but you also have to be someone that is willing to, in the beginning, you've got to make your own stuff. Yeah. You've got to be able to write something, and it actually makes you in turn a better actor. If you that's
directing does make you a better actor.
That's why I started editing, because I got.
That's why I started acting.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know I was going to be doing gigs like that, but now I do, and I love it.
That's exactly why, and I love hearing other people that also resonate with that, because I was basically in every acting class or any casting session, I would always write down my feedback, and on the feedback I was starting to see a bit of a trend where it was like, you're unaware of the camera, you're unaware of what the edit's going to look like, you're not really understanding the tone, and then I put all that together and I was like, okay, well, maybe I start editing. What if I did some directing, and maybe I'm going to start being good at that?
Yeah, experience the problems that they go through and that they're talking about.
Yeah, and I didn't just want to ask somebody. I love getting hands-on with
being
everything.
Immersed in it.
Yeah, I really want to immerse myself and learn. And so I started doing that, and I realized that I loved it because it meant that I was in control. It meant that I was no longer waiting for someone to give me a job. I was no longer saying, this is the gatekeeper and they have to let me in and please give me a job. I'm now making my own stuff.
Yeah, or I get asked to do stuff.
And I get asked to do stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what though? It's better than me sitting at home watching Netflix eating chips.
Although that is fun.
Oh look, I love that too, to be honest with you.
I'm a corn chip person.
Yeah, and
corn
I love
chips and Netflix. It goes all right.
Yeah, I want to see that new one, like Bad Vegan.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, because I'm vegan, and I was like, obviously I need to watch this. It's about bad vegans.
Okay.
Embezzling money. But yeah, like, I digress. But yeah, that's why, because I want to make stuff. I want to make film. I want to act. I want to direct. Well, I'm going to throw myself in. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show the industry what I can do. Don't just tell people. I'm going to show you what I can do. I mean, and be unapologetic about it.
I think that's a really good point.
Yes.
Is that why do you need to say sorry for doing something that you like doing?
No.
And why do you have to be like another phrase that we picked up recently is being an unapologetic capitalist. I want to make money off my art, man. To break even's fantastic. To make a profit is like out of this world. And as an artist, you've got to create those different income streams. You've got to make different products. You've got to make different things and diversify. And they're all a positive feed loop that goes back into each other.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're really talking about there is about one thing complementing the other. You
are so correct. And I think that's why I'm always drawn to organizations like Made in the West. I'm so drawn to it because it's an odd industry, I guess, to be a part of. If you're on the outside world, you're going to look at what we do and think, how does this work? How do we make money? It's very confusing for people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's difficult to make money in this industry.
Yes. And
you need to know your way around.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that it's not actually taught at film school how to actually make this a career, how to actually monetize this. You just learn about the craft of it, but no one actually told me about the business side of the industry.
Yeah, well, for me, it was music that taught me the business side of the industry.
Yes.
Because I was always in bands. Yeah, well, that's how Made in the West came about for me.
Yeah.
Because I was a musician that went to film school.
Yes.
And when I was going through that, I realised that the film industry has the same problem that the music industry has, and that was the amount of platforms that are out there, getting exposure, and having local content. It's all overseas content. It's always elitist content.
Oh.
And they had the same problem, and I by being in bands since I was 20, I learned how to deal with a venue.
Yeah.
I learned how to promote. I learned how to be an accountant. I learned how to be a lawyer. I learned how to be a promoter. I learned how to be a musician, and I learned how to be a producer. I learned how to be a graphic artist.
Love it.
And I got to talk to everyone that is from all of those levels in every aspect of the industry, and figure out everyone has different desires, wants, and needs.
Yes.
And I just extrapolated that from what I learned in the music industry into the film industry, and then brought the positive things that I knew that were lacking, and that just providing a platform. That's what Made in the West is. It's about having a hangout where people meet and recognize each other. It's like a gig, right? It's like a music gig.
Absolutely.
You go to the gig and everyone sees your performance, right?
Yes.
And because film's more complex than that, because there's people behind the scenes, and the behind the scenes people also get a Guernsey, they get to have that experience, and everyone gets to bring everyone along to show off what they've done.
Yeah.
And then along the way, there's also a competition where there is actually then rivalries between filmmakers going, oh, I can make a good movie, oh, I can make a good movie, oh, let's make a good movie, man, So all of that was built out of learning how to be a business person in an arts industry. Yeah, and you can't, I don't know many places you get taught that. I think that was me being in a band for 10 years, figuring that out.
I definitely can. I mean, to be honest with you, you've got the right person here to talk about this with. More than honestly, like, you are just speaking to the right person. It's one of those things for me where, for some reason, people seem to think that just because we're in arts and entertainment means that we're exempt from treating this like a business, and we're also exempt from following any rule book. They just think that we're just all doing our own thing, when that's so far away from the truth.
Yeah.
It's so far away.
Yeah.
We're really just going to work every day and grinding like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really unfair when people think that this is an easy, cushy job, or it's, something cushy. Look, I've heard it all. Trust me. I have. I mean, like, we can go down the rabbit hole with that conversation.
Oh, definitely. Even having just family support, like, I'm going to go do an arts degree. Why are you doing that for? But like, at the end of it though, I got to be really coy, because like, I started working at a TV station at the lowest job that I could get there. I was an ingest operator, and then in 4 years I was managing the TV station.
I have so much respect for you though.
And I worked my butt off to do that. I worked for free for hours. I worked for days, weeks, months. Even there's one job I did for free for a year. Yeah. And
the struggle is real, and
it's a massive struggle.
Yes, and I have so much respect for people that come out and they talk about that. I hate hearing stories. It gets on my goat, because you get these people that come out and they say, oh, I just did this one audition and the rest is history. And it's selling a very false idea of success to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's that notion of an overnight success.
Oh, that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, man. Oh. It's just that you have heard about them today.
Please.
There is 10 years behind an overnight success, and don't get me wrong. There's people that have certainly accelerated and gotten a great velocity out of an exposure moment.
Yes.
But a lot of work went into behind that.
Absolutely.
The education, the experience, the networking.
Yeah, and if you think that, you're going to walk into the industry and just do that one thing that you're trained for, I think I even spoke about this last time, that you're not going to. Do you know how many people that I have met that are brilliant actors, and they've said, oh yeah, I wrote that, I directed that, I edited that. So many music producers, like, I'm a big fan of, like, Grimes. I love her. She produces her own stuff. And that's what I want to be. I want to be someone that wants to endlessly collaborate and work with other people and share my skill set with others. Yeah. I'm not here to just keep it to myself.
Yeah, totally. I like getting into the position of being a hired gun. I love being in that position where someone goes, oh, I've got this deficiency in this film, and I know that you can fill this void.
Love it.
And I I either do that as a Foley artist, or I do that as an actor, I do that as a producer, I do that as an editor, I do that as a sound operator. And I'm prepared to do anything on someone's film if they enroll me in the idea.
Love it.
You know, but you know, directing for me is the juice. I love directing.
Me too.
I love directing other people's content. I love directing my own content. Both are different beasts. So if you guys are out there that are thinking about directing, obviously direct your own story first. It's probably the easiest port of call. Yeah. But if you have an opportunity, direct someone else's work, because you've got to then translate their vision into your skill set to make the movie.
Yep, I did that. And that's exactly how I got in.
That's an amazing journey to do.
Oh, yes.
And then that makes you a better actor, because an actor is about linking an emotion or an emotion in you to a fictitious moment where you're bringing something real into something unreal.
Yes.
And by directing those moments and working with people and finding their vision and their collaborative perspectives, it gives you a unique perspective. I went to go... my objective of being an actor long ago was to be in other films so I can see how other directors work.
Oh, okay.
Because I go, I know how I direct, and go, but then the cool directors, I know this is going to sound weird, and I just one of the coolest directors I worked with was Maria Tran. Big shout out, Maria Tran.
Yeah.
And I realized she had a very similar style to how I direct a movie. Very consultative, talks to and trusts people's decisions.
Yes.
You know, actually, a thick collaborative environment where you surround yourself with people that know what they're doing, and you allow them to be them. Yep. You just give them the yardsticks. I need you to act between this point and this point. The rest is yours, man. You know. Okay.
I think we might have a few differences there, but you know, like
I like you're directing though.
Well, the thing is, I like to hear that, because that's the opposite to me. Because I think that as an actor, I probably don't like that much freedom, I guess. I love to hear, you know, I like to work very closely with the director and see what their vision is. But if they say go ham, I'm going to do completely my own thing.
Okay. Oh no, I guess that's what those yardsticks are for.
Okay.
This is the emotion that this is the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
And this is the emotion I want you to anchor to.
Okay.
And if you can find something in your life that's similar to that, you know, get those stuck together, and then I need you to make this person feel this way.
Okay.
I need you to say these three things specifically, but how you glue them together, if you say an and rather than an is, I don't really care. Ooh. I just like...
continuity is like deep breathing.
Well, it depends how it's written as well. It depends on the content, but the real freestyle stuff I like is finding those yardsticks with an actor. Giving them something to work with, giving them an emotion to work with, a reason to work on it. So why they're doing it, like what motivates the character, and how I want you to transcribe that emotion to the other actor. I want you to make them feel like this.
Okay.
So that's one thing I found is pretty helpful for an actor. Give them as much information as you can about what that character is in that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a very interesting approach. I think kind of giving them that amount of information. I would never...
Depends what it is, though.
Yeah, I think it depends on the scene, maybe, for me. Normally when I'm directing somebody, I think, I'm the same about giving them the amount of backstory as I can into it. But I like to direct an actor the moment before. So I like to set them up for... either the moment before they enter, so that way they're as raw as you can possibly get them, and they've done the prep, and then by the time they enter, they're already into the scene, and that way I can avoid doing, 6 takes of the same thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I saw a couple of directors that I really admire, and they were doing the same thing.
Okay.
They're prepping their actor in the moment before, and I find even for myself that's how I practice. I don't just direct the same way, direct one way and act another. I try and integrate that into my own work and my own practice.
Well, you will see that on a set where an actor is like working with themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Before the fact.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what you're saying is that you get them at that moment.
Yes, I like to always look at the moment before and the moment afterwards, but I try.
Definitely do the moment afterwards. How it's going down depends who you're working with. But then I have a few methodologies I go through after a scene.
I think sometimes. Oh, okay. This will be interesting then because after the scene has finished and I think we've done the takes, I like to do a bit of a come down, as in we talk about something happy and we shake the character off.
This is really cool.
Because sometimes the character gets very close to us.
Yeah.
Especially myself when I've done a few very, very heavy scenes on myself. And when I'm trying to get out of it, I'm already in her headspace still. And I have a bit of a ritual. I make myself a bubble, like a nice hot bubble bath.
Yeah.
And I've got to sit down, I watch a nice happy movie, and I get myself back to baseline Prue, back to myself, clear head, because it's very, very difficult when you go into some of these psyches. Very, very scary.
Absolutely. Because if you're taking someone into especially a dark role.
Oh yes.
There are those moments that you have to ease them down for sure.
Yeah.
You got to talk them back down from the ledge that you've just put them on.
Yes. Well, it's a serious thing, because I think I'm also a scene partner to somebody, and it's also my responsibility as a scene partner to help them come off the ledge. I'm not going to just say, okay, have a nice life, bye, and leave.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That was a good take. All right, next scene.
Yeah, because that person has obviously had to bring up a deep fragility for them, deep in their soul, in their psyche. It's possibly the thing that makes them who they are, and I respect that they have trusted me to go that far into a character with me. Yeah. So I often try and make sure that person and I are at least, at a good friendship level, so they feel comfortable going there with me, and they know it's not going to go any further. Yeah,
well, that's the thing as well. I think before a shoot, I like to get the crew together to socialise before we do the shoot, so they get to know each other as people.
Yes.
Before instead of putting just people together where they've just met at a rehearsal, I like to go do something that's sociable.
Beautiful.
Where they can get acquainted. Because when they get acquainted that way they can read each other better from when we go to do the job.
Yes.
And we get to, and then also have a bond as well. Have a couple of beers, have a schnitty. My ultimate dream actually is to be doing a tropical film and going, right, we're going to meet at the beach the week before. Right, so get everyone to the beach.
Okay.
I want we'll have a beach party. We'll get acquainted, and then we'll go shoot the movie.
That sounds like a great idea. Can I work on that movie? I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
like
well,
beach party.
That's my dream for a feature. I want to. If I ever do a feature of that magnitude, I want to get everyone acquainted so we can go and tackle that thing, because I want to push everyone to do a hard job, but I want to thank them before they do it and after they do it. That's part of that experience dream that I have for making a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting people acquainted is really important. Rehearsals are super important. I'm big on rehearsing. Love rehearsing. Yeah. But you don't want to overdo it, but because you got to get like you say, you don't want to do 6 takes on a scene. Yeah. You want to do 3 to 4 max. If you get it in 3, that's great. They call it in film language, the film ratio.
I know what you're speaking of. Yeah.
Well, they used to. Well, before it was about celluloid film, because you'd have so many film canisters. So you don't want to burn them all up, right? Yeah. Because they're consumable.
Time. Yeah, and everything was limited. Yeah. You can't do unlimited takes.
Yeah, no, well, even with data, man, because some of these films that shoot in high resolution, it's still expensive to as soon as you hit the button, you've got then a data economy going on there. You don't want to overshoot it, because then you've got to wrangle all that data. Absolutely.
Or imagine doing like a 3D movie.
Yeah,
3D movie, and you've stuffed up all the 20 takes.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess though, coming back to voice acting, I think that's my ratio. I try to do 3 to 4 takes on a voice acting gig.
Yeah, I'm a solid 5.
Yeah,
I always say to myself, if I'm doing a self tape or if I'm working on a scene, I'm going to do it 5 times. And if I don't come in hot on the first take, I know that I haven't done enough prep with myself. And normally my prep is the thing that takes me a long time, especially I'll be honest with you. Whenever I'm in a coaching session with my coach, or if I'm, let's just say, about to shoot a self tape, the prep takes me about 3 hours because I've really got to get there. And it starts from the moment I wake up. I normally wake up like 3 or 4 for those kind of days.
Okay.
When I've got a work day on and I know that I have to bring it, I got to wake up and get in that headspace straight away.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, wow.
It starts with the makeup. It starts with my hands and my behavior and how does she hold her ring? How does this person sit? Where's their weight in their body? How, especially with the voice, because I think that my voice sounds it's a little bit too enunciated, I think, for some of my characters that I play, and I'm like, yeah, this person's going to talk like that.
Yeah, okay. So, more like me, for instance,
more like you.
Well, I had someone once that said that my accent was quite rural. I have a quite rural accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it's appropriate, I guess, to say, oh, you've got this kind of accent. Because I always worry, is that rude?
No, I would say that you have a very proper accent. You have
Me? Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Definitely.
I sound like the Queen when I it's true, right?
But it's quite pleasant voice.
Oh, thank you very
can't
much.
go past that. I have an announcer's voice, I think. I'm like, be there, be there, be there.
You do sound like that. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when someone I leave a message on someone's phone, they go, oh, was that the Queen or was it Prue? I'm like, hello, lovely to speak with you. Have a nice day.
That's okay. Most people think that Misty was British when I first brought her over to the East Coast.
I kind of could get that.
Yeah. Like, is your wife English? I'm like, no, she's Australian, man.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't from overseas.
West Australia.
West Australian. West Australian's very different.
Western Australia.
Yeah, it was a different country for 2 years. You needed a passport to get there. But
That's true.
Getting too political there. Too political.
Shout out to all my West Australian friends.
Yeah. As we like to call them, Perthlings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perthlings.
We come in peace. Yeah. I mean, you've totally blown my mind.
Why? Why is that?
Just going through the journey of what anchoring to an act, anchoring to a role. The way that you've described anchoring yourself to the role and the transition of that, and going through that, like from my limited experience as an actor, I've gone and done things where I go, all right, I've thought about it the day before or at rehearsal, going, I need to, well, one of them was I was in a kung fu movie, so I had to do like fight choreography.
Okay. Yes.
And I was thinking about my moves. How do I do my moves and the timing? How I react with my co-actors and how I get into this fight and remembering. It's just like a dance, right?
Yes. Okay.
Got to remember your moves.
Okay.
And then okay, so this is this scene where I do the first compartment of these moves, and then we're going to have to do it from the other angle, so I'm going to have to do it 6 times. Mm-hmm. So you got 3 takes on that one, 3 takes on that one, get to the next scene.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And then you got your line delivery as well. So I had a monologue, and this was my first monologue in a movie.
Yes.
And monologues are terrifying.
No.
They can be.
No,
if you haven't done one before, if it's your first monologue, I'm telling you, it's terrifying. I was terrified, and I got it done in 4.
Okay.
4 takes.
Very good.
But my next monologue I got done in 2 takes. So when I got going,
you're showing off.
No, but here's the thing. But the warm up beforehand, what you're talking about, is really intriguing for me, because if I was talking to the director beforehand,
okay,
I reckon I would have got that first one done in less takes.
Yes, you probably would have. I think that
because I was warming up on the first 2, and I was trying to find the rhythm and trying to get my head into the space of this person.
Okay.
And then I connected with it, and then I delivered it, because then I became it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's very common, though. I think that's very common. I mean, I'm very, very serious about the way I take my acting and the way I take my directing, and it's something that I haven't really spoken about this with anybody ever. So this is the first time I'm really talking about this.
Yeah, wow.
Because
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you feel open on the Pagey train.
I really do, and you want to know why? Like, I have no filter, and I'm extremely honest with people, because I don't believe
problem as well.
Yeah, but I don't believe in holding back. Holding back, you know what that does? It holds everybody back.
Yeah.
So I'm just extremely honest when I say the reason why I've never spoken about my acting is that a lot of people have said that I take my craft too seriously, and they've put me down over that.
No, I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Well, they say to me, "Oh, who do you think you are, talking about your acting like it's so serious, huh?" I mean, I go to uni and I study something real. You know, those dinner conversations.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it got to the point where I was like, well, I don't want to talk about this anymore, and I was very in my shell. And I think talking about this right now, I'm in my zone, and I'm unapologetically speaking of this.
Yeah, totally. I think your methodology and approach is inspiring.
Oh God,
I'm like,
so much.
I'm totally gleaning off this. I'm like, okay, so next time I do a role, I'm gonna sort of work on it. I've already started thinking about how I'm going to approach my next role without even reading the script. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
so just changing my methodology and approach. You've changed me.
Thank you. I'm one of those people that loves everything in document form. Like I love to have. I do. Oh gosh.
I know someone else like that.
Yes, I love to make a nice template. Like honestly, I've got like a.
Oh, now you're talking my language. Templates. Oh, I love a good template.
Oh my God, speak my language.
Yeah, template, then repeat. No more work. I just got to fill in the spaces.
Do you know what? That's exactly how I think. And
Work smart, not hard.
Work smarter, not harder, man. Like that's how I live. And you know what is that with my templates, right? I have everything, and it kind of looks a bit like a clown's book or like a joke book because everything is coloured and like yeah, everything is. It's all like colour coded and stuff.
You're like a mixture of two people I know and myself.
Perfect. That's exactly what I love to hear.
Yeah, colour coded, huh?
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so I have to have everything so color coded, man.
Yeah.
Like everything is purple. My screens are tinted purple. I wear purple shoes. Purple's like one of the easiest colors for me to see.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, and that's like a fun fact.
Yeah, okay.
Everything. Yeah, I'm like super ADHD and dyslexic.
Yeah, I can understand the dyslexia sort of things. I think the way I got over that was because I'm a little bit dyslexic myself. I read aloud. What I do.
Okay.
That's how you fix that. Oh, you can't totally fix it. The words will always jumble on you. You'll always lose your space because that's what dyslexia does. You lose your space because you're like, shit, I've got to go back.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happens. But reading out loud sort of gives you a bit of a callus for that. I guess that's the way to describe it.
Oh yeah, it depends. Oh, I don't know. Like it depends on the person and how they learn. I'm quite bad. But you know, like it depends on who you are. But I think like I've got a lot of templates and stuff for my acting, and I always have at the very top of the page the magic if, and I ask myself,
this is great.
Like as in what if my character didn't walk into this bar, and it's allowing me to think in the character's brain and really sit in her and ask, okay, well, what would she have done realistically? And I like to also, ask if I can ask the writer, or I have to fill in the gaps. But as much as I can, I do like to always go back to the text because if the text is my textbook and that is where all the information, it's like a roadmap to success for the actor. Everything that you need is on the page. And very rarely do I have to fill in the gaps with something that isn't there. But I think before a scene, it's good to get into that creative space where you can start to think freely in her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're thinking so freely. I like to get out of my head into hers and make sure that I'm ready to play. I'm in that play space because I can't choreograph this. I can't have anything in my body. I can't say hand here, there. This has to be completely her, and you have to be functioning. It's like you're operating. We're a machine, and we're going to operate as that person, and it's so natural.
Yeah, totally.
It becomes very natural.
Yeah, I went to a cocktail party.
Yeah, okay.
Birthday cocktail party,
Yes.
which was a murder mystery. So I was the CEO from a pharmaceutical company.
Oh.
And I tried to stay in character the most as I could. And I realised I was having an effect on the party because I was talking to two people and they started adapting my British accent, which I thought was hilarious. I was channeling. You ever see the IT Crowd?
Yes, I have.
You know Renton?
Yes.
Father! So I was acting like Renton all night. And
Wow.
it was absolute blast.
Okay.
And it lifted. There was other people doing it as well. And that us just being characters and taking on the role in that social space, it totally lifted the room. Everyone's having a good time and really getting into it. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, I think that when you've got an actor in a scene and they're committed, they are committed to that role, and they are going to dive headfirst into this, and they're believing what is on the page, then it's infectious.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know. I keep doing that. I'm just so excited. But as soon as we start to talk about
Everyone does the mic bumps. Even I do it.
Yeah, you do?
I do. I usually do the chin one. I do that one. That's me.
Oh my God, that's literally going to be me. Like, the awkward.
I've now put the idea there.
No, you're going to put a hex on me.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't put a hex on you.
Yeah, I just think that I love committing to a scene. I love it when people commit. I love to see an actor leave it all on the stage. And I also think it's so respectful as an audience member too when I'm watching that to be present with them.
Yeah, totally. And it transcribes. Totally does.
It does. Yes.
Yeah, but I think as a director, I've pushed people really far. When I was in my first few films, because I'm so driven to get a story done and to try and do it on time. Like I remember I was in the desert, doing this. It was a revenge fantasy film.
Okay.
And we're in the desert, and I had three actors, one child actor and two actors, and they were one was torturing the other in the middle of the desert, and I ended up being 3 a.m. Still shooting. We'd been shooting for 17 hours, and my cinematographer goes to me, "Dude, we need to wrap." I'm like, "But then we have to do this tomorrow night." It goes, "Then we do it tomorrow night. We have to wrap. It's 3 a.m.
Was that the child actor in that scene?
Yeah.
The child actor? 17 hours?
Yeah. Oh, no, he was there for the end of the day.
I was going to say 17 hours. Like, oh my God.
But the other two, I had them all day. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, the other actor, that was his son. So
okay. That
he was looking after his boy.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
I didn't hire someone and then, drive them to insanity. I just did that with my friends. But yeah, I learned a lesson from that. Is like, you can't, just because I'm super driven doesn't mean that I have to put other people through that. You've got to know your limits.
I've recently learned that. I have done quite a bit of work in team leadership and project management. And that's because I just love having a formality about work. And I love also looking into other industries such as engineering and stuff like that, where or retail. And I always look at, well, how do they project manage, like even e-com? How do they project manage their staff? How do they project manage their company? And I've kind of taken all of that on the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and I've had to learn about those different personality
I'm a project
types.
manager.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And I've had to learn about different personality types. And sometimes, like, if I don't understand somebody, it's really great to get people to do a personality type test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all personality based, right?
This is all,
and that's what I was talking about. Like, I was a second year film director.
Yes.
And I was making this film, and I was out in the desert. I managed to get some budget together. We drove out to the middle of nowhere. The car broke down in the middle of the desert on a long weekend, and that killed our budget because we had to go get a tow on a long weekend.
No.
Killed the budget. But yeah, I realized, because that's what a film is. It's project management. And you're facilitating a whole bunch of roles and a whole bunch of different people. And what I learned from that and being a project manager is you got to know, and that's why union rights are sort of there, right? Is to make sure that you don't push people too far because it's dangerous. You need to allow people, you need to allow people to sleep. You need to allow people to eat. And that's what I learned. Like, every time I do a film set now, everyone's fed. Everyone's like, not that I didn't take water to the desert, and everyone was fed, I assure you. Big shout out to Ben and Chinny, actually.
Oh my God.
I'm telling this turned into a film confession horror story.
This is like turning into confession. Forgive me for I have worked people.
I've worked people near, in the middle of the desert, ready to die in the middle of the desert.
Just like,
why are we doing this story? No, these guys know me. They still love me. They came to my wedding.
I'm glad they still love you.
They still love me. They came to the wedding, so they must have been all right. But I guess, it's project management. You can't push people too far. You got to know that you need to get the most production out of them. They need to be happy and they need to want to be there.
Exactly. I think that I have to realize that not everybody is going to be a Prue. And that's okay. That's totally fine.
But I get what you mean. That's why I'm sort of resonating with what you're talking about being serious. People go, "You're taking this too seriously, man."
Yes.
And that's and I understand that perspective.
Oh yeah, like I'm like I will die for the art, and yet not a lot of people.
I'll die on this hill for this.
Yeah, I will die on the hill of like the art, which is that obvious or not? But
yeah. Oh well, if you just make sure I die in a good position so you can get a good shot of it.
Yes, and on my good side too.
Yeah.
Please. Literally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I that's amazing. Like, to be driven that way and to take things that seriously and to be focused, because that's what we're talking about, right? It's focus.
Yeah.
And I'm quite obsessive. I get obsessive about things. When I start learning about things, I dive into them.
Yeah, me too.
And I just want to know everything I can about it so I can get everything done. But it always comes around, for me, back to content creation. Making songs,
yes,
writing stories, making movies, making podcasts,
And it's the staying creative. I think that if you're going to sit and wait, then you're going to be really cold by the time anything comes up, like an audition. And if the audition comes up and you're feeling really cold and you can't really get into character, it's because you're not stretching that muscle. This is a muscle memory-based career, and it doesn't matter if you're not in a play at the moment. Then write one, and then you're going to develop that skill even further. And think about how rare that would be. I mean, directing a project, I would love to have an actor come up to me like that. And I think when I sat on a director's audition table and I went, oh my God, now I understand. I understand auditioning. They are wanting me to come in. I used to think everybody hates me.
No, you want them to do good.
You want them to do good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've started coming into the room saying, you know what? I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
I'm here to show you. Would you like fries with that?
Yeah.
Here is my performance and I am ready.
Yeah. I find acting is like one of the hardest, easiest things you can do. Like when you get into the zone, it's easy, but it's really hard to get there.
Oh, really?
It's the hardest, easiest thing you'll ever do.
I feel like this is my zone.
Yeah.
This is my area. Step into my office, baby. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I don't know. I used to think that it was a really hard thing to get there. I used to. And then when I started doing my warm-up and my practice every day, it got easier and easier because I made shortcuts to these places.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like a toolkit, right?
But to go to that toolkit, it was hard.
Don't be scared. Don't fear, because what you resist persists.
Yeah.
It's only going to stay there. I feel like if you... Do you mean are you talking about going from a cold body in the day?
No, I'm talking about okay, so you've never acted before.
Okay.
And then you go, all right, I want to be an actor. And then you've got to go learn everything it takes to be an actor. And then you go and find a script. Study a script. Studying a script can be really hard.
A little bit.
To find what it means in context and to remember your lines. And then you've got to then perform that in a collaborative space, which is also very hard. But when you do that more and more, it becomes easier and easier. What I mean is it's the hardest, easiest thing you'll ever do.
And when there's creative differences...
Because when you get there, it's great. But it's hard to get there. It's hard to get your education and your understanding.
Yeah, because I think that when you're in a collaborative environment, unfortunately, not everyone is going to agree because all art is subjective. And when you're, I guess, in front or behind the camera, you're going to unfortunately have a lot of people, they might get a bit tense. And it's going to show on your actor's face. And that's why I like to keep everyone, let's just keep calm.
Yeah.
It's going to get done.
Yeah.
I like...
You got to be... that's what I do on set. I talk quietly and I carry a big stick.
What does that mean?
It means I've got to appear to be scary, but never, ever be scary.
Yes, it's that firm... I'm
it's balance. It's paradox.
Yes, but firm.
Yeah. Don't fuck this up because I'm going to get upset. But you have the freedom to fail.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Don't screw this up.
But you got to give people the freedom to fail.
Yes.
You have to.
You know what though?
That's
doesn't
trust.
matter.
It's about trust.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Is failure really that bad?
No.
So what? We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, well, that's right,
So
but
what?
it depends. I know. I have had the 17 takers before.
17.
Yeah, my worst one was 17 takes that I had someone doing. I go, we got it. We've got it. I'm just going to change the scene. It's not going to happen.
You don't want to hear, after the 17th, like someone yell out, "We'll fix it in post."
Yeah, oh God, man. No, everything in post is planned unless it's a repair.
Oh, God. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be just fixing the whole movie.
It's one of the things I do a lot of. I repair a lot of people's movies, man. They send me the broken part of their movie and I fix it.
I love hearing about that because I've heard that that's how you become a better musician when you've got to fix someone else's awful harmonies.
Yeah.
So please tell me about fixing somebody's mistakes.
Okay.
I'd love to know.
Oh well, there's a whole suite of reasons why someone's film's failed.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so the most common one for new filmmakers is they didn't do their file management, so they didn't clap their scenes. So a lot of what I've done is, so you've experienced this, right?
I'm actually feeling a bit sick, but I know this feeling.
Because it's a lot of work. You
Syncing
understand
dialogue, yeah.
And then you got to go and sync it all, right?
This is
and
my
it's
first.
unreferenced.
Yes, my first dialogue, my first film that I ever did was like that too.
Yeah, so I'll get someone that will bring me unreferenced material. So they'll have all the audio files, they'll have all of the video files, and they don't know A to B. They don't, A to B to C to D. They have no idea what that content is.
Yeah.
All they may have, but the thing is, I can look at content from a data point of view and understand. I go, give me a shooting schedule. Tell me when you shot it. Show me a shooting schedule. They go, we shot this on day 1. I go, great. And even if they didn't set the date in their camera, I can then work out, well, what date did it start on? So then I've got a time signature when they've made it, because then I've got a loose direction of what day was what.
Yes.
And then I can go through and then go, oh, he says this here, and then it gets fast. As you do that process, it gets faster and faster and faster.
Yep.
So then I organise their film, so then it's ready to be edited. So that's one thing that I do.
It's really that pre-work. You've had to do so much pre-work to do that. Props to you.
Organise their content. So organising content that is unreferenced is one thing that I do. Bridging sound is the other most frequent thing that I do. So they've had a point in their film where there is a miss of sound.
Yes.
Audio failure, mic failure, something usually of that nature, or it was a mic pop. They were in the wind and the mic wasn't on. They've only got a camera mic, and they only had it for 30 seconds. The rest of their film's fine. It's just that 30 seconds. So I'll go and build that whole soundscape and then integrate it into their film, so that no one will know that sound's missing.
I am so intrigued.
Yeah.
That was me. That's been me. I was working on a project a few weeks ago, and I'm scoring it for somebody, and it was the same thing. For some reason, it was just a very windy day, and I
got a lot of mic blasts on it. Yeah.
It was literally like they were standing on top of a mountain. Yes, and and it didn't matter how much high end or low end you could cut out of that.
Yeah, there's no removing it. You got to rebuild it.
It sounded literally like an old radio, and I mean the only thing I could really do with it is, I guess, work with the wind. But it's all worked out now, and that's how we get good at things.
That's what I do though.
Yeah.
So if someone will give me that sound file, well, not that sound file, they'll give me that little bit of footage. I don't even need the HD version of it. I just need a proxy video line of it. Don't even need a big file. I just need the actual finalized edit, what that is of that one section. I only usually ask for a minute before and after.
With the wind? Wind or...
Oh, no, but they would definitely have their mics on and off, and they'll build their own soundscapes. Okay. But they'll just have one gap. And I do soundscapes for full films as well. So I'll build their entire soundscape, their whole...
You're a wizard.
Yeah, and then do their ADR. But that's why I don't mind, like, doing the Foley is like acting the film again.
Yes, it is.
It's totally like it's acting on a mic. So a lot of stuff I do is on a mic. So voice acting, Foley work, and this is how I bridge things together. Data bridges for people. Rescue edits is another one I do. They just give me their edit and go, "Can you tidy this up?" And I'll tidy it up for them.
Yep.
So that's a pretty moderate money spinner actually. I'll get about 3 or 4 of those a year. Yeah.
I totally understand, and you know what? It takes a very special person to be able to do that, because you've also got so much empathy for the filmmaker or the actor that comes up to you.
Yeah, you just didn't understand at the time.
Yeah, because the project I was working on, they didn't know that the that the audio was going to be that windy. We didn't know that any of that was going to happen. And I have so much empathy for going through that. And we're all here to work with each other. We're all here to get a project done. And at the end of the day, we were happy with the piece of art that we've created. It's so collaborative. I love it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just patching up things for people and going on those collaborative journeys with people, going on your own as well. And I think being in bands has helped that with me. Because you've got to collaborate with a whole bunch of other musicians, right? And music is a language. And you've got to start speaking each other's language and figuring each other out to riff and then arrange, then produce, perform a song.
It's not, and I still don't think music is universal. I've never thought that because if you look at speaking to a metal composer or a classical composer, they are going to have to do a lot of work in understanding that genre and what makes it sound the way it does. Because it's definitely a language, definitely.
Yeah, it's something that you have to encode, decode.
Yes.
So that's but again though, for me, I find the similarities between, for my life, it's really bizarre. Like I find the similarities between music and filmmaking, music production and film production. They're different things, but they have a lot of similarities. The egos are similar as well. Like a guitarist is very much like a cinematographer. A drummer is very much like an editor.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yes.
A lead singer is definitely like a director.
Yes.
Those personality. It's as a generalization. There's probably exceptions to the rule, of course.
Who's the bassist?
The bassist. Oh, they're the audio guy or the grip.
Yeah, because the bassist and the drummer are always besties. So
yeah,
that makes total sense to me.
Yeah. So I just find those similarities in personalities and performance, because without a good cinematographer, there's no one leading the film. Without a good director, there's no one leading the film. Without a good actor, there's no one leading the film. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that lead and need to have their egotistical right in there, because the ego has a positive effect up to a point. It's when people are over egotistical that becomes a problem, right?
Yes.
So you do need a little bit of ego and confidence to get your job done. You need to go, I'm a good director, man, I'm going to go do this thing. And that's your ego speaking, right? You need that. That's a requirement. But I'm the best at what I do is a bit too much.
Yeah. I mean,
unless you are the actual best.
I mean, there isn't the best. What is even the best? Do we have to define the best? It's going to be so subjective as to what somebody thinks. And I think I don't know if it's ego, I guess, or if it's people just caring so much about the craft.
Yeah,
I always ask myself that. Is it the craft? Is it ego?
I get stuck in there as well, like, because it's a bit of a paradox. Like, art creation is a selfless act.
Yes, it is.
But it's also a selfish act.
How so?
Well, I love directing in a movie because I love directing movies because it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it does.
But I like to entertain people. So it's a paradox. Like, one's a selfish thing, one's a selfless thing. Like, I'll go through a lot of extremes to entertain somebody because I like to entertain people.
Yes.
But it makes me feel good.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the selfish part of it. So I'm selfish because I like it.
I agree that there's always going to be a point in this career that we're all in where we start to look internally and we're going to start I don't know, I guess criticizing ourselves for doing something that is selfish, I think. Because often I think to myself, well, let's say there is mega success with somebody. What can I do that's going to give back? And I always like to emphasize that. And I think for me that does counteract the feeling of being selfish. Because I think, well, in fact, I'm not being selfish because with this, I'm going to give back to somebody who maybe was in my position.
Yeah, I guess the way I say that is the rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah, I don't think,
Totally.
you should ever feel selfish because I think, you give back what to me, I think, you know, the whole Made in the West film festival gives so much back to people. You're the last person to feel guilty.
Oh, but I
last.
love doing it. I love getting up there and like don't get me wrong, there's parts of Made in the West where I go, oh, fuck, I've got to go do this thing, man. It's so much work. We could go do this. I've got to go work with this situation. There's always something to work on, and it's a constantly evolving chapter in my life. It keeps changing, keeps growing, and there's stress with that. But there are moments there where I absolutely love it. When I'm standing up, giving the speech, like the opener for the festival. It's one of my most favourite moments of the year, where I get to tell everyone how awesome they are and thank them for being here. I really enjoy that moment. I live for that moment.
That's so beautiful, though.
And
that's beautiful.
But that's that again, though. That's a selfish thing. I like Misty will. I can tell you, like, if I see myself on TV, go, oh, there I am on TV. Look, there's me.
Right.
I was on TV the other day, by the way. I'll tell you. No, I wasn't, but my footage was.
That's still you.
Yeah.
You know what?
Running on empty. Big shout out, John DeBron.
Snaps for them. Snaps for them. Drinks to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know there is that selfish side of it, but I think I do dig what you're saying. You're talking about drawing towards the selfless side of it.
Just be selfless. I always say my motto is live your life. Literally live your life. And if this is what brings you joy, joy brings more joy. It does. If you're happy about something and it makes someone else happy, of course you're going to feel happy back.
That's true.
Well, let's not stand in the way of that. Let's not have ourselves and this negative side of ourselves get in the way and say, I'm being selfish. No, we're not. We're just breeding more joy, and the world needs joy. I'm like, you know what? Who cares if someone calls me a hippie? I want to bring joy to the world. There is so much negativity in people.
I love hippies. Hippies are great, man.
And there is so much negativity happening all around us every day. Why should I put more of that into the world? It's only going to bring everybody down.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes I get sad, man. Sometimes I get sad, because you work hard on something, and sometimes you get tired. But there's two things that keep me going.
Okay, what is that?
One of them is Misty. Misty is absolutely fantastic. She's brilliant. She always reignites my star. And
oh goodness,
but
so lovely.
The other thing is that every time I'm surrounded by darkness of an idea, there's always this little grain of sand right in the middle of me that is full of light and is just trying to get out.
Beautiful.
And I concentrate on that one little grain, and they make it 2, they make it 3, they make it 4, and all of a sudden I'm back to being bright again. And I always go through that journey because like I work myself to the bone. I really do. I work really hard all the time. I work myself to exhaustion all the time.
Yes.
I really do. And I feel that in you because you speak of being I've been criticised for being a perfectionist, and I go, well, I don't know if I'm a perfectionist, but I'm certainly a proactive person that's doing a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
And people go, do less things. That's their answer to me. Do less things. I go,
Why?
Why? There's enough time. I like what I do. Sometimes I get down about what I do because...
Is that the darkness that you spoke of?
Yeah, man. If you stand in the light, you're going to cast a shadow, right? And sometimes we focus on the shadow. Sometimes we don't focus on the light.
When you focus on the shadow, because I'm very, very interested in this, again, topics that we don't necessarily talk about enough as actors and in this industry. Yeah. We really don't.
As performers, yeah.
We don't. And it's quite disgusting to me because I want people to normalize feeling extremely insecure about their work. And stop saying everything is perfect on Instagram, guys. Like, stop posting your success reel. Let's start posting how hard this damn thing is.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious, what would you say is your like shadow stuff, or like, I mean, nothing without going in too personal.
No, but I'm happy to dive in. Yeah, totally. I think the imposter monster is the biggest one that I tackle. Like, what business do I have doing this? What business do I have being a front man in a heavy metal band? What business is that of mine? Man, I look silly in that film. People are going to criticize me for that. Even though that I know deep down that I did a really good job and people love it. There's still that voice that goes, you're still shit at this, man. Why are you even bothering for? There's always that voice that I'm always dealing with that tells me that I'm not good enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not smart enough. and I'm constantly fighting the tide of that. But on the other side of that story is a bright light that goes, it's 3 a.m, I've got to get this done.
Yes.
And I'm doing this for a good reason. Editing. When I edit and write, I feel it in my hands. Like I feel art in my body when I'm doing it.
That's beautiful.
It's so exhilarating.
Yeah.
Performing on stage, performing in front of a camera. Even podcasting is an art, man.
Yes.
It really is. You got to.
And I'm still learning, but I
But
love
it is.
I really love it.
It's just not a conversation. Like it's a really equal conversation.
Yes. Oh God.
You know,
Yeah.
here we are on headsets. We can't overpower each other. We're very equal. There's no domineering. I have a habit of cutting people off. Don't get me wrong, but it's pretty even space.
Yeah.
And you've got to fill the space, and you go, all right, where's this wave going to take us? Like I wrote a few notes, but we haven't touched any of what I wrote down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like, we can go into that. Yeah, because I think honestly, everything.
Well, there is one question I want to ask you though.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, it's something that I'm envious of actually.
Please don't be. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
no, it is. It really is.
Oh, be still my beating heart. What is that?
The Thurman man.
Theremin.
The theremin, yeah.
Oh, the theremin. Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman, no, not the theremin, the theremin. Yeah.
Oh, the theremin. Oh,
I've
gosh.
always been fascinated by theremins.
Wow.
Always.
The
Because
first person to say that to me.
I'm so fascinated by them. Like, I've got you might see over in the corner there, I've got a water phone over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a water phone. I love playing the water phone, which is like a little bow where I bend the notes and do these horror film sort of sounds. But the theremin, is it theremin? Is that right?
Yeah, theremin.
Theremin.
You say it how you ever want to say it.
Yeah, because you got just to describe to our listeners, it's like this little aerial that has another handpiece there, and you sort of move your hands around it, and you can bend and create notes essentially.
Yeah, that is how it works. Exactly. You've got two antennas. You've got the pitch antenna and the volume antenna. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And it's one of the oldest electronic instruments in the world. It is the first, created by Leon Theremin.
Yeah.
And it is one of those instruments where it's been adapted over time, so you can make a theremin. If you really
I've actually looked at the tutorials to do this. Yeah.
Oh man, if you end up doing that, call me and tell me how you found it. Okay.
But we were talking about Uma Thurman.
The theremin.
The theremin. Theremin.
Theremin. Well, actually, I can make it even more confusing for you because I play a theramini.
What's a theramini?
The theramini is a modern version. It's a modern take on the theremin. So the theremin is basically an instrument that does not have any kind of pitch correction, and it's basically a very squeaky noise. Like to anyone who doesn't, yeah, it's gonna sound like the opening scene of Ghostbusters. Yeah. Yes. Wow, are you playing the theremin right now?
Yeah. Well, I do sound effects. That's what I do.
That was perfect. That was amazing.
I can light you a match. You want me to light you a match?
Can you? Yes. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally nerding out on that. But the other thing I wanted to get to is because the Uma Thurman is something I've always wanted to play music with. That sounds really weird. I've got to really retract that. That's terrible.
No, the theremin.
The theremin.
Yeah, I can look at them. Like, you know, if you've got a theramini, that's basically it's got pitch correction. You can set the key you're in. It's far easier to play in because it's classed as a digital synthesizer. Yeah,
they go for about $700 though, don't they?
You got the Moog original, which was used in First Man. If anyone has seen that movie,
First Man.
My favorite director is Damien Chazelle, and one of his writers is Justin Hurwitz, and he did the music for First Man as well as La La Land, two of my favorite movies. And he actually taught himself to play a theremin for that film, and he plays the original theremin. It's like a box like this, and it's very honestly. I would say it's very similar to a violin because it's all one pitch and you've got to have very, very good oral skills for that. But the theramini is going to work by adding effects and you can really do some trippy stuff with it.
Yeah, okay. Like
very
a chaos
trippy.
sort of pad sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. I'd love to do that. But yeah, wanted to talk about something else as well. What was it? The art girl.
Yeah.
What's the art girl all about?
The art girl. Yeah. Well, I'm in the in the middle of a few different projects. So again, I love creating my own work, and I think that everything that we've spoken about, honestly, all collates. In my opinion, I believe that you know.
That was me. I told you I'd do it.
Pop, pop. Yeah, that's okay.
Makes me feel better. Normally the mic bumps, the fastest one I had was 8 seconds. Like someone bumped it straight away. And the longest one was an hour 20. They bumped it. Everyone pumps the mic. Everyone.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Yeah, but including me.
Okay.
So I think we're an hour and a bit in.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, I broke your concentration, so we're talking about the art girl.
Yeah, because I think that everything that we've spoken of so far all collates, and from talking about inner demons and our shadows to why all of this exists in my career thus far is all for a reason. And I started writing music about what was going on, and I think that just because I've had a lot of negativity around what I do does not mean that I have to dwell in that. It doesn't mean that I have to be negative. So I decided to make art with the weeds and turn them into flowers.
Yeah, wow.
And that's how I like to think about everything.
The weeds into flowers. I like that.
Yeah, because the bullies and the naysayers in your life, and that goes for, the people that listen to this podcast and also for the younger generation. I really want to prove to people that we don't have to live in the person we were. And this is really where the art girl is going, right? This is it's a perfect time to speak of this because we've had such a in-depth conversation about who we are as people. And the art girl has come from a point where I was really living in the past. And yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery, and we must live in today, which is a present. That's why they call it a gift.
Well, I love it.
Like, that's from Kung Fu. Look, that pearl of wisdom, guys, is from Kung Fu Panda. But I don't want to live in the past, and we are not what other people define us as. So this is why the art girl became a thing. So when I was in the 10th grade, I was horrifically bullied. I'm definitely someone who was bullying survivor, I guess, because I was physically bullied, mentally bullied, cyber bullied, everything bullied. And I was called the art girl when I was at school. And it was a name that people called me.
Sounds like a badge of honor, really.
Well, not at my school.
Not at that time, though.
Yeah, and I was at a school where they didn't really care about the arts. And they thought I was like the freaky art girl. So that's what they would call me in the playground as an insult. So when I left my school, they went, oh, where did she go? Oh, that art girl, the art girl. So I decided that what everyone had called me for so long as a name that was supposed to put me down, I took that weed and I made a flower. I made a beautiful patch of
Mad flower. I think they really dropped the ball on that insult.
Yeah, I think they did.
Because I think that's the art girl.
Yeah, they could have come up with something better. Like,
I think they come up with something really good. I just think they fucked up their own prerogative. Like, I think they were trying to depower you, but it's actually quite empowering.
Yes, and that's
because fuck you. You are the art girl.
I am the art girl, and I'm gonna own that.
Yeah.
And I really hope that everything that I speak of, in any interview I do, I always want to leave it positive that you are not going to live in that. That is, you are not what defines you. And a lot of the time, when we look at these shadows in us about, oh, I'm not good enough and this and that, they're other people's voices. Excuse me.
They are.
Like, excuse me, get out of this story. I didn't write you in. I don't write them out of that story. Bye. I'm going to cut you out. Like, literally, you are not coming back for season 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I think of it.
Yeah, I totally dig that because I can totally resonate with bullying ideas and that sort of thing and those negative voices. And I was bringing it up before about those negative voices that tell you you're not good enough.
Yes.
But ultimately, I always triumph over that. And I occasionally over the years I go back to it because an event happens and you get churned up in it and then you get brought back to a foundation. And I just try and get back to that foundation of being a positive thing rather than a negative one. And that's what I've learned over the years is going through the cycle of life and the cycle of emotions. You need to understand that you're going to travel between the negative and positive banks of the river. We want to hold on to the positive more than we want to hold on to the negative. But we tend to hold on to the negative We tend to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Because it's a better grip. It's more a confirmation grip. We go, told you that was going to fuck up. I told you.
Yeah. And
We want that confidence to say that we were right.
Right. Tell me about it. And I think the Art Girl project is an album of music that I will be releasing very soon. And like I'm doing some singles and stuff, and I'm doing that by myself. I have a home studio that I record in. So like, yeah, when it comes out, I'm doing a release. Like I've planned this out for myself, and the Art Girl is like essentially it's a business. But I'm in the same place where all of my songs, I found that I don't want to get deep. I don't want to get too deep, because when we talk about acting and my music and stuff, like, how can I not? You know,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
how can I not? Because I'm talking, honestly, I do my best work when I'm hurt, when I've got an arrow through my chest, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. And I don't want anyone
It's fuel.
Yes, when we talk about process, good Lord, I am the person that's like, you know, I've got the candles and no lights on, and I'm like, all by my side.
Yeah. I've written two
desperate.
albums based on... Well, that's number 3. You got number 3 going.
Please don't count. Please
I'm
don't
up to
count.
2.
Is it like a
You've won
ticker?
up. I think you're going to beat me at this. I'll give it a
I
good
will.
shot. I'll give it a good shot, though.
I will.
But no, I've written albums from coming back from the war, and I've politicized them in a way that I think about the world and the optics that I see.
Yeah.
And I've done at least 2 albums that are based on that. All the lyrical content is based on my emotional context about how I feel about a certain subject.
When we're artists, we are going to write about things that hurt us, all the things that bring us joy. All art comes from emotion, and that's exactly how I see this, that the Art Girl, I'm just going to have to make that something positive, flip things around, and I have to express it. It becomes a form of therapy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a redirection of negative energy into positive energy.
Yeah, and I'm writing about that moment in time, and oh gosh.
It's a process.
Yeah,
You're processing it.
Yeah, and acting and music, to be honest, is the same thing.
Totally.
Oh my God.
It is performance art.
To get into the space to sing and write, I got to be there. I have to be there in that moment when things are actually happening to write about how I feel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'll give you this example. This is a way that I'll sort of bring context to this idea for me. Is right, you can do karaoke, right? You can sing other people's songs, or you can sing your own songs. And I've experienced doing both of those things.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Right? When you're acting, you can do monologues of other people's stuff, right? And I find that to be like karaoke. Like when I do Al Pacino, I like doing a good Al Pacino, right?
Okay.
Especially Devil's Advocate. Love doing monologues from the Devil's Advocate, you know. The last fig leaf, you know. Getting right into
That's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah. But I find that to be like a cover. It's a cover song. So when you do other actors' monologues from different films, it's like a cover, or it's like a karaoke. It's the same sort of thing. You're replicating something that's already been made before, and you're doing it maybe a little bit in your style, but you're still trying to do it in their style.
Ah, yes.
Right. So I find them very similar. But then you can riff. So there's monologues that I riff with because I write. So I do like gangster films and I do sci-fi films. That's what I write.
I'm very intrigued by those.
Yeah, I love doing I love a good bad
Ther-
guy monologues. Love doing a bad guy monologue.
Thereminist, right here. Like, you need to write a thereminist character.
Yeah, I
Please.
can do that.
I'm ready. I'm like...
That's more like a saw though. I always want to be able to play a saw. You ever see them bend the saw and they do the bow?
I have. That is intense.
Yeah. I reckon I could do it. I reckon I could do it. I can do it.
I honestly think that you could. I totally think you could.
Yeah, I reckon I could. I reckon I'd get away with that. But I just think, there's definitely a relationship between that interface of where you're trying to do things that other people have done versus riffing yourself. So, like, there would be bad guy monologues in a sci-fi that I'm writing, and I'll just riff it. I'll just start riffing it. So I'll record my voice as the character. So I'll start acting as the character to write the story.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
In the voice?
Yeah, but that's right. In the voice that I would do it as a voice actor. And I relate that to the being a vocalist, doing a performance as a song. Because you can sing a cover or you could just... I can show up in a band room, right? They can start playing a riff and I'll just start improvising it. And start feeling where I fill the spaces. And all of a sudden then I've got... lyrics. The lyrics start appearing. And then the lyrics start appearing. I go, well, let's arrange it. Let's come up with a song arrangement. All of a sudden we've got a song that I've written lyrics to, and I've all done it from riffing.
Yeah.
Like just being in the moment.
That's so interesting because I'm the same.
And the writing is that for me as well.
Yes, you've got to get into that headspace. And I really...
Be the character.
Yeah.
Be it.
It comes to you.
Mm.
Like sometimes they're like, what are you going to write about? And I'm like, I don't know. But she's going to come to me. I know it because when I start to work with her and I start to feel her in my body and in my fingertips, she's going to present herself to me. I'm going to sound a bit like either psycho or psychic.
Psychic.
I think, I'm going to sound like either one of them at the moment to everyone who's a non-actor, but they present themselves to me. And I normally have to find that incision point. And that incision point for me is either an object or it comes from a smell or
I do the same thing. I do a very similar thing. It's an object or it's a phrase. So one character I've been working at the moment is a sort of like submarine sort of character. All right.
Okay.
And he's a not an officer, but an enlisted person, but that's in charge of everyone. He's like a warrant officer, right?
Okay.
And he's got this one phrase where he goes, "No doubt." Right. That's all. That's his catchphrase.
No doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he would look at it that way, but no doubt. So I know how that character sounds. I know what they always say. And from going to that space, I can write them quite easily. And I act them quite easily. And I really enjoy that. And I just want to find ways to explore that more in a more collaborative space rather than an isolated space.
Gosh, that was definitely like listening to someone talking about putting on a uniform. It is like a uniform, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a movie like that came out, 10, 12 years ago. And I think it was The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Nicolas Cage was talking about that he in his practice, he puts on his uniform with little with lines, and then he starts with costume, and it really is.
And this is riffing, right?
You're riffing.
You're feeling it. You're getting in the groove. You're not making full determined decisions about it. You're just touching bases with it, and then all of a sudden it forms.
Yes.
And that's the experience that I really dig. That's the selfless part for me, when I'm immersed into it. And if that's entertaining to someone, that's great. That's selfless. But the selfish part for me is that immersion point, that transition. I find that it's so exciting and adventurous, especially in the ideas of existentialism and who we are as people. Because you talked about before, I sound like a psychic that's trying to draw on these characters, and then you go, well, where do ideas even come from, man? Like, are ideas out there all the time and they're just grabbed onto by consciousness? Like, what is that?
Yeah. I think that's the point of all of this is that as artists, we need to be the ones with curious minds. We need to be the ones who are going to question everything.
Questions, man.
I don't believe in ever saying, well, that's the way you do something.
Absolutes don't like them.
Yeah, but they're honestly, nothing is ever set in stone. We need to look at the flip side of absolutely everything as the person we are playing. Ask ourselves, what if, and never just take the character at face value, because you know what? Half the time I have to...
I don't say what if. I do so what.
So what?
I go, because you spun me out before, because you brought this up earlier in the podcast. Because you have this template that you go,
oh, yes.
What if? And what if this person didn't go into the bar? Well, mine is, so what? They didn't go into the bar. So what now?
Oh,
and
okay.
That's how I look. It's the same. It's the same thing, but a different optic.
Yeah, because so what? To me, that has a different.
Okay, why does that matter?
Yeah.
So what?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you're like you do it as a contextual thing. Like, what is this thing? And I'm like, but what is the emotion in that space? So what? What does that mean?
That's so interesting because I'm going
very
external.
Similar.
Well, it's so similar, but so
but
different.
So different.
Yeah, because I'm going so into like external, as in this is all about the setting, and story, as in yours is going internally into the character. Wow, that's so. I'm going to use that. So what?
So what?
But I'll obviously trademark.
Yeah.
Pagey Tran.
Well, no. The other thing is, so what now? So what now? So what now? Like he's walking out to the bar. He knew that his best friend was in there, but he couldn't face the idea that he was sleeping with his wife.
Oh, so what?
So he
now?
didn't go in there. So what now? He goes to see the wife.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And that really does start to make you question, and I love to do that because I think
it's because that's what it is. Because that's what we're talking about, right? Because you go, what if?
What if?
It's a question.
Yeah. And, you don't want to be in a scene and be like, and freeze.
Yeah.
So many times I think actors love to throw something at you that you're not expecting, and you're like, what are you doing? You got to go with it. You just got to go with it, but not as Prue, as Queen, or as whoever
whoever that character is. And who you decide that character to be, and who you agree that a character is. Because being a director, you got to agree on a character. Like a big shout out to a guy I work with called Quentin, right?
Yeah, okay.
I had to hire this drug dealer, and I wanted him to be like Tyler Durden, right? So, red leather jacket, always speaking in metaphors, flamboyant person.
Oh my God. He sounds awesome.
Yeah, great character for someone to get a hold of, right? And he would bring things to the table because I was very specific about this character.
Okay.
But he brought other things to the table, and I realised, I turned into a negotiation. He goes, I see your vision, I agree with it, but I want to enhance it in this way. And then he started enhancing the character in that way, and I go, ooh, but what if I enhance it further this way? And then we were negotiating who this person is through collaborative process.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That you weren't just going to be a wall and say no. Obviously, we know that the first rule of drama school is don't say no, take the offer. We all work with that, right? But it's not just an exercise, because what you were doing then is accepting yes. Have you ever done that exercise? Yes, yes.
Just say yes.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
And if we are this, I always say to someone, I am a blank piece of paper. I'm a canvas, I'm a piece of clay. And I want to mold this character with you, work for you, not against you. And we're going to produce something beautiful together. It's not just me sitting here trying to mold myself. Because I also struggle to not check myself in the corner of my eye and have someone else in the audience watching me. When you have yourself watching you?
Yeah, totally know what you mean.
Yeah, as in, I know I got really deep just then, but you get so heady. This whole industry is just such a heady thing for an actor.
Well, if you can split your axle on that though, you can implode on those ideas. You got to. It's a tight line. Like for instance, when I'm singing heavy metal at a show, I picture myself as the person that's furthest away near the door that wants to leave, and I picture how do I convince that person to stay in this room.
Ooh.
That's how I think about that space. I want to shout at the person that's furthest away and encourage them to stay here. Because that way, everyone that's beyond that spectrum, that is closer to me, that wants to be a part of the show, gets a better experience. Because if I play to the guy that's like, I'm going to go have a smoke after this show, I'm like, oh, but I like this song. Yeah, no, I'll have the smoke later. I'm going to listen to this song. Yeah. That's how I think about it.
You project the energy to every corner of the room.
Yeah. I want to own that space.
That sounds like a theatre. It's musical theatre.
Yeah, I don't.
Beautiful.
I don't want to demand it. I want to command it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to command that space. I want to invite you to stay through intrigue and question and desire.
That's right. There is a lot of intrigue, especially for me with metal music.
Yeah, I want you to answer this question. That's how I think about it. Yeah, I like the jugular approach to that.
Yes, and also the fact that
because it's ferocious in nature.
Yeah, and the music I think reflects that too. Why is that happening?
But the person that's on stage when I do metal is not the same person that you're talking to. They're different people.
Oh, I agree. The art girl does not act like me, and that's actually something that I have had to work on. The voice and everything that I'm projecting, it's a character. We're all making characters at the end of the day. We're all making a piece of work that is not. That's
why I think it's existential, because we all do this throughout our lives. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
The way you talk to your parents is not the same as the way you speak at work. It's not the same way you speak at the pub. Everything is a role. And the real thing is, you go, then who's the person underneath all of the roles? And then you go, is there one there? And I find that very existential.
I have an answer.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to just sit here and go, yeah, wow.
No, but what do you think? What do you think?
Like that. You know what? Is that I think that I've done a lot of work on finding that person, as in finding who is this person that makes all of the art? Who is she?
Yeah, what is this voice and where does it come from?
Yeah, and I've realized that when you get rid of all of these ridiculous layers that we have over ourselves that we think are socially acceptable, and we think
Status quos, yeah.
yeah, status quos. When you get rid of those, then we find the real person, because the art girl is saying what I want to say through music. My Prudent pictures, I direct to say the story visually and through acting. I act so I can take on a character and tell somebody else's story and really delve into her or whoever I'm playing. And I've found that Prue is going to be the baseline person, and I have to be unapologetic, and I have to be honest about why she is saying. Honestly, this is a bit of a safety blanket for me, because having a different version of myself in front of all of my work was me just not confessing to how I really feel. But in reality, I'm like, I definitely wrote that song about how much I was bullied. Yeah, this song is written about how much I hate retail. I'm not scared to talk. I'm not scared to tell anybody those things. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly can say that about songs. And some of it's quite confronting. Like, this song's called Lonesome because I feel that I can't connect with anyone because no one has experienced, not many have experienced what I've experienced. But then you go, well, that's a really locked box. And then you go, well, I want to invite someone into that box. I want them to see what I see.
Oh, yes. But life is not generic.
Yeah.
Life is not a no-frills, can of baked beans, guys. Life is different for everybody. And the flavour is so exciting for me to hear your story. I don't want to hear everybody's.
Well, it's the contrast of everything, right? It's contrast. And you were tapping on it before, with Instagram. We've got our best foot forward with Instagram. It is the photo album that you show your grandparents and they don't know about how you were partying on Saturday night. That's what Instagram is. Or it's the party on Saturday night where actually you're just hanging out with your grandparents. It's one or the other.
That's more me.
Yeah,
that's more me.
That's probably more you actually.
Oh, I don't party. No, everyone knows this about me. I don't go out. I don't do anything. I work, right? But you are touching on something so exciting for me, because when we normalize things like that, we're not only normalizing things in our society, but our work needs to reflect that. Because I don't know if you've seen, what's kind of happening with TV at the moment, but the way that, certain female characters are portrayed, how is that what is influenced by the internet? Is it in our culture? It's all reflected.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I think I've got a lot of opinions on that, actually.
Yeah.
I think from the 80s, I think commercials are a good way to figure that out. Late 80s commercials, early 80s commercials were highly sexualized, and they highly sexualized women. And there was a hypersexuality about women and image and woman's image and what a woman was. And if you fast forward to now, that argument of what a woman is so fragmented across so many arguments that no one can actually answer the question.
Oh, whoops. Oh, gosh, again, sorry.
But I think it comes down to outrage now. I think we've moved on from sex to outrage, right? I think in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, there was that saying that sex sells, right? I haven't heard that saying in such a long time, that sex sells. I think that what they realise that outrage sells. Controversy, taboo, things that are uncouth, they sell. And they've actually done studies on people's brains experiencing sexual imagery versus outrage imagery. And do you know what they found? Or gambling, or cocaine, or other forms of addiction.
Scary.
Outrage is the highest ranking. It ranks higher than sex. So an outrage. If you saw, if you were on the street and you saw someone being accosted on the street, for instance, let's just say you saw a really big dude hit a 10-year-old on the street.
Yes.
You'd be absolutely outraged, and you'd actually go and do something about that.
Yes.
You'd be so motivated that you'd be called to action by your morality, and that ranks higher than sex. So what they figured out is if you create imagery, small snippet content that's outrageous, clickbait is what they call it. Clickbait, outrage, doom scrolling.
The doomers.
Yeah. That is highly addictive. There is more parts of your brain that are firing as if you were snorting the purest cocaine on the planet. And by the way, when people play pokey machines, for instance, that's what their brain is reflecting is the use of cocaine, right?
Yo.
But the scary thing is that outrage outranks sex and drug addiction. Outranks it in neuroactivity in your brain.
I totally believe that, and I think that this is really about we're going to be, if we're the people who are making media and we're the ones who are feeding this beast, really, let's just be real about this, guys. We're music makers, we're filmmakers. We're going to be fueling this fire. We can make change. We can make change.
Totally.
I am a firm believer in being a leader. I love leading and making change and showing that, yeah, you know what, things are like this now, but they're not going to be like that soon.
Yeah,
and
we're in a renaissance.
We are, and I do not, oh gosh, I think we really have to rewire people to think that instead of finding it addictive, looking at shocking or awful things over and over again, that's only fueling the fire for people to see something in real life and bring a phone out and record it. It's not content. Are they really called to action? Because I don't exactly know.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, right? Like, if iPhones existed, like, I'm not saying that I'm a religious person. Let's just argue that Jesus is a real thing and he got crucified, right?
Okay, yes.
Let's just argue that for a second.
We're all entitled to an opinion. It's okay.
Whether you believe that or not, let's just argue that that's the case.
I understand.
If that happened during the advent of smartphones, would people be helping Jesus off the cross, or would they be getting a selfie?
Selfie.
I reckon they'd be getting a selfie.
Totally.
I know that's a really pessimistic view,
but it's the truth.
But I think that's feeding into that outrage, and that outrage, everyone's outraged, and I think that that outrage it comes back to the art of war, divide and conquer. While we're having a cultural debate about our differences, we're not talking about how we're similar.
We are so similar.
And I think that music and film and gaming, actually.
Video games.
Yeah, yes. I think those three genres of content creation bring people together.
They will, and I always say...
They even have names like multiplayer, right? They literally bring people together.
They literally are bringing people together. We need to bring content into this society that is going to be... It's going to suck the poison out of so much damage, and especially the damage into our brain that likes to watch tragedy. We like to watch tragedy unfold on our screens, and it's almost like an illness, I think. And I think
it is. I think it is a mental illness.
Yeah, and that's why
it's junk food that's poison for you.
You know what? It is visual junk food, and that's why the film that I'm developing at the moment, I'm developing a feature, and one of my main points of that film is that I want to change the lens on how we view neurodiversity. And I'm a dyslexic. I've got ADHD. And the entire premise of that film is looking at someone in a positive light. And it takes one to write a character like that. I don't want to make mistakes. And I want to actually see someone who is from that background make a film like that and be able to show such a positive light on who we can be.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Can we do?
And well, I think that the content's starting to reflect that. Like, I'm in a privileged position of seeing a lot of content.
Beautiful.
That is from Western Sydney, and I can certainly say that I can see the optimism in it. Yeah. There's a lot of optimistic content out there.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong; they tackle some like heavy topics.
Great.
Heavy topics
Love
that are
it.
very difficult to talk about.
Okay.
Things like Islamophobia, things about the gay rights movement,
Yes.
The feminist movement, the idea, and as well like racial equality, gender equality.
Yes.
These are really difficult topics to really get your head around.
I understand.
Because there's so many people that have a stake in it. But I think that film is that intersection. Music is that intersection. Gaming is that intersection of people coming together about their commonalities rather than their differences. And I think, the mainstream media will definitely lead you to believe that we're all different. But really, the artist in all of us, we all have those shells. The shell that is talking to their parents, the shell that is talking to their friends at the pub, the shell that is on this, that's the person on stage singing a song, the person that's performing that role in a movie, that person that's talking on a podcast, talking about their perspective on life. We all have that, but I think when you peel that all away, who are we? And when you get to that point, you'd actually find that we're all very much in common. We all breathe the same air. We all have the desires of love, the desire of acceptance by our fellows. We have all of that. So I think we're way more common than people will ever lead people, that people with interests will ever lead us to believe.
I love that. We should never present a version of ourselves online that we want, or a version of ourselves in front of others that we think they want to see. We just be yourself and be your authentic self. An authentic self for me is what I aim to show in character, film and music. I love always going back to, but what is the truth?
Yeah.
What is the honesty? It's like acting 101. Yeah, but what is the truth? Don't just come up with whatever. What is the truth of the scene? Go back to your text, go back to, maybe it's the music theory, or go back to that original writing and see what is the truth of the character, because it's always going to bring you back to earth.
Yeah,
we
totally.
can get so heady.
Yeah, we can, and we can get so sensitive. We get so sensitive to ideas, and I think that's what that divide and conquer thing is. And I hope that people see the commonality on what we have, especially through doing projects like Made in the West. Yeah. We're also different. Like, you look at the content in that lineup.
Eclectic. It's eclectic. Very eclectic.
It's totally different. And
oh yeah.
It really is. And I'm always surprised by that, even though I expect it. Like, I expect it to be different after doing it after 10 years. But every time I see the new lineup, I'm like, this is just mind-blowing. Really awesome. Like, it is insane how much different content is out there. Don't get me wrong, we've gotten pats on the backs before for being diverse, promoting female directors, and we don't actually do that. We just promote the content. It just so happens that it was made by a chick. It was made by a gay dude. Like, it doesn't. We don't care that a gay guy made the movie. We don't care that a woman made the movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's always going to come down to the content.
Yeah.
Good
content
work
is king.
Yeah, work gets work gets work gets work.
Yeah.
And it goes round and round and round.
Totally.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're really close to the end. We should wrap this up. Let's get your plugs in. So we got the Art Girl. Where can we find the Art Girl?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on. I'm just going to move this over here. So am I in shot?
You're totally in shot. I can see you from over there.
I'm in shot. Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. It's on Google, actually. So if you just Google Prudence Bernadette, all of my links will be in there. Just have a knowledge panel, so you can just check all of that out. And I also have a YouTube channel, Prudence Bernadette. And I have an album / singles coming out after May this year.
Yeah, that's exciting. So much work, huh?
Yeah, or you can check out the www.theartgirl.com or princebernadette.com or Prudent Pictures, and we have quite a few projects coming up. There's a lot of things
You got so much content coming out. It's absolutely fantastic. The output is great. I can totally resonate with it. People go up to me all the time and go, how do you get all this content? I actually still have time to spare, to be frank. But yeah, you do an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. And yourself too. And I'm just, I love hanging out with you guys, and I think what you're doing is next level fantastic. And I mean that not in front of a camera, but also not because there is a camera rolling, but I truly mean it. I dig that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I wear the t-shirt every day.
By the way, that's right. I forgot to talk about that. You were the you were the prize winner for the golden ticket at Made in the West.
No, I'm doing the Queen.
The Queen wave.
The Queen. I'm like, excuse me, here. But high five.
High five. You actually won the randomised golden ticket at Made in the West, and you've got the bag. You've actually got it here. Yeah, of course we got it here. The randomised bag. There you go. Now it's in shot. There you go. Which is $500 worth of goodies. I'm so stoked that you actually won it. I can't believe that you won it. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I just think, that's how sometimes things work out in life. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the prize.
Oh, I'm so grateful, and thank you so much for doing a prize. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, it was a crazy idea. We just launched our Redbubble thing, and we needed to get some product out there, and we thought, why not put a prize together? So, and I'm just really stoked that you won it.
Who better than me? I'm going to plug the hell out of it. It's me. I'm all about that brand.
Well, don't forget to hashtag Made in the West. Just hashtag Made in the West or Made in the West Film Festival.
Of course I will.
Of course, I'll be all over it.
Why are you asking?
I'm all over it, Ross. I'm all over it.
I always tag. My goodness gracious. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Be still my beating heart.
Yeah, well, look, thank you so much for being on the show. I've learned so much tonight. Really have. But guys, you've been watching the Pagey Train. You can check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on iHeartRadio, and of course, basically anywhere you can find podcasts. And of course, you can find us on YouTube. And if you're listening and watching us on YouTube, don't forget to tick like and tick for notifications when we bring out a film. We bring out a podcast every week. We do it on Wednesday, so be there or be square. You've been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. Sonic Boom, we're done.
Boom!
All right.
Thank you so much.
Kill the record.
Absolutely a riot. Thank you for
I'm
discretion.
busting for the loo. Let me.
Oh, please, you must.